We are so late, but welcome to the Extra Star Wars podcast. It is episode 122 as my phone just buzzed to tell me that we went live. It also scared the hell out of me. Welcome everyone to the show. This is Extra Star Wars, but we're already late. It's 10:20 p.m. on September 25th, and we're about to cover Ahsoka Part 6, Far, Far Away. The boys are doing me a favor tonight because they can't actually see any of the production like we do on StreamYard. We're doing this raw dog style. Don't like that, but we used edging last week, so we're going to count it. And we're running this straight off of OBS, so this is going to be a rough production, mainly because StreamYard betrayed me. And this is how Balin feels, to be betrayed by the order of StreamYard. And my video and my audio was desynced, and I couldn't pull any clips, and I was a sad boy for a week about it. So I said to myself, what could be the better option? Why don't you start setting up OBS the night of the stream, 30 minutes prior to stream, to see how fast you can get a show together in a good amount of time. And obviously that actually went from 30 minutes to 52 minutes because it's 10:22 p.m. And we're here with Damien, and we're here with Mike, and do I have this?
Balin is a daddy.
Right, and I think everybody heard that. Let me just pump that one more time.
Balin is a daddy.
That's what I need. Need to pump that audio for sure. So let's just do a quick mic check. Mike, check. Are you here? Oh, that didn't, I don't know if that came through at all. That means we're here. We're kind of here. Let me check routing. Oh, let's try it now, Mike.
Mike, check 1 2 1 2.
That worked this time. I did not have chat turned on, and now we're back. Damien, are you here?
Go Birds.
Go Birds. We have a Birds victory. We got a 3-0 start. Balin is a daddy. Thank you to LG and Tina for your patience as we get our show started. Boys, I appreciate you doing it. Look at this. I got Go XLR on the screen right now. It looks terrible. Here we go. We're back. And we're doing a weird display capture, a weird presentation using Google Meet. This is not meant to do it this way, but we're going to be as best as we can. We're doing the thing. So I think they should be good. Thank you, LG, for the confirmation. We're a little delayed on chat, and that is okay. Boys, part 6 was a journey, to say the least, and I'm interested in your overall impressions. What's super weird about that is I can't hear the output of the noise, which I know it's working because I see the audio, but I have to set a particular setting, and it's really, we're just going to be okay with it. For now, we know it plays. I think it will sound good on the backside. Dame, let's start with you. Your overall impressions of part 6, 30 seconds. Let's go.
So I really enjoyed it. I liked that they didn't drag on the appearance of Ezra and the appearance of Thrawn. Like, we had a little bit of exposition in the beginning, had to arrive in Peridia and everything else, but then, and obviously it took a little bit to get to Ezra, but like, we had plenty of dialogue with Thrawn. It was very cool. We didn't have as much with Ezra, but that's okay. I think, tomorrow's episode is going to focus on that more, but I just like that we got a lot of screen time, or more than I was expecting with those two characters that we've been waiting 6 episodes for now.
Totes agree. Mike, your overall impression?
I thought it was a solid episode. Like, not a lot of action, but incredibly cool visuals, incredibly great dialogue, and a phenomenal introduction to live action Thrawn. Um, like I said, not like action. Like there's maybe the one fight with Sabine and the the bandits that sound awfully a lot like Tusken Raiders.
The Knights of Ren meet the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, pretty much. But I just thought it was a solid episode all around.
Excellent, excellent. I'm working on some volume issues as we're a little low. I think we'll improve it as we go along. That's okay. Speak up, will you, boys? Anyway, my overall impression this episode opened up a can of worm of questions, which is poor English, but I said it anyway. And the Star Wars universe is better off because of it. But I gotta say, I wasn't in awe like I was last episode. I gotta be honest with you. But this part of the story, this part particularly shifted the story forward in such a nice way to give us the final two parts with lots of mystery and suspense for sure. So I was like equally excited for everything. I sort of was expecting that all, and that's kind of probably why I wasn't like super excited, but I wasn't really expecting all the Anakin stuff from part 5. So that was really nice. This I was like, you're anticipating when is Thrawn going to happen? When is Ezra going to happen? When we're going to see the Chimera, and that's going to come up later in the drawing board. Ooh, suspense. But yeah, I would say definitely positive on the episode for sure. Got a couple watches in, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. And I think a lot of people are satisfied with it from the discourse on the Twitter sphere, the X sphere, and all that good stuff. As the dog is now eating a bone behind me, which is fine. Hopefully, we can't hear that. But yeah, I think overall impressions overly positive from all people. Balin and Shin, we got some things to talk about in this episode with them.
Correct.
Which brings us, of course, to our top moments. It's our top moments. The sounder.
I miss hearing the songs.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
me
so
too.
sorry. We'll fix this for next time. But we're
playing. Then I look at the screen.
I
I'm like,
know. No, this is sad. This is sad, boys. But it's beautifully playing up on my preview, which is really wonderful, and that's really what
That's all that
matters.
matters.
So
yes.
Well, let's start off with the best character that is going to come up in Wayseeking later, but Hu Yang, who says the thing. He says the thing, and the thing was said, and I wasn't prepared for it, and I did make an audible gasp. I went, that's what I did.
I need to change my theory from last week.
Remind me?
My theory about how all of Star Wars is essentially just stories told from Ahsoka's standpoint.
That's right.
Now just my theory is that Hu Yang is just the narrator of Star Wars in general.
From a certain point of view, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm down for it. There was a lot of interpretation of the history of the Jedi part 3. And whether or not he was referring to the prequels or to the original trilogy, right? We're not sure. It's a little ambiguous. But definitely not the sequel trilogy. We can confirm that for sure. Although it hasn't happened yet, so I guess he doesn't know the story. Technically. But Hu Yang just in that little weird moment. Like we get these cool lots of characterization from Ahsoka, who is sort of reminiscing of when she was a child in the temple, but then also is still learning lessons a little bit, And something that I think I answered on Twitter about Ahsoka, and something we didn't even talk about. Is Ahsoka a Jedi again after Anakin's training? And there was a little discourse on Twitter. I asked a question, and someone was like, absolutely, because she says, have you ever been on a Jedi starfighter? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, when Jason was exploring, and then she said, have you ever been on a Jedi starfighter? I'm like, but isn't that just a Jedi starfighter? I didn't understand. What was your point? You're saying that because they indirectly said it? I was like, that's really weak. But then I made the argument is she more than a Jedi now? Because she's had this outer body experience, right? So I don't think she's quite a Jedi. I think she's like a Super Saiyan in terms of Jedi when you're talking about Dragon Ball Z sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
It's Balin is daddy. Is she now mommy?
That possibly.
Mommy Jedi.
Mama J. Mama J. Yeah, I don't know, but it was just something that I forgot to mention it, I think, last episode, or maybe it was in between, like, no, it would be, yeah, between part 5 and part 6, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you about, but, you know, is she a Jedi? I mean, we don't consider Balin a Jedi. He's still trained in the Jedi Order. Like, what is he? You know, there's a lot of questions. There's questioning of what the Jedi Order is, and if you even need it. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Mikey.
At this point, they're trying to, like...
Yeah, what are they doing, right?
Like if it's staying with the timeline of, you know, the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
We're assuming that this is past when, in season 3, when Mando and Grogu were on the island and they're redoing the Jedi Temple. So, like, the Jedi Order is starting to become a thing again.
Fair, which comes down to the question of, like, wouldn't Luke want to be involved with a big threat like this? I don't know.
Right.
It's very interesting. Like, my Luke sensor goes off and says he should probably know. Then the second sensor is like, does he know? But doesn't want to get involved? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, is he too busy? Is his calendar marked as busy? And we don't know. Out of office?
Out of office.
What are we doing?
Do
you know? Okay. All right. Just to go with my stupidity of not knowing pop culture. Okay.
We've
so
also gone off the rails.
Hold on. We're in email land with vacation responders just for a second, okay? For a while, okay, I will admit this, for a while, when I saw someone have out of office, but they put 3 capital O's and then, like, whatever their next, I thought it read, ooh, not here right now. So that's how I thought it read for a while, like, in my lifetime. And I was just like, wow, they're, like, really excited that they're on vacation. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then I read it, like, doing my own signature. I'm like, oh my God, it means out of office. I feel like such an idiot. But imagine Mark Hamill going, ooh, looking for the ancient Jedi text currently. Anyways.
Would love it.
Order of operations.
That's right. That's right. Order of operations. That's right. Oh my God. I want to die a little bit just right now. Mike, you're a top moment from you, sir, please. Get us back on the track.
So my top moment was just the entire Thrawn entrance.
Big organs.
You got the night troopers all lined up, very sinister. You got them chanting. I believe they're just chanting Thrawn.
Correct.
Sounds like the music that went along with it. You get the shot on, like, just Thrawn's feet. They don't even give you the money shot yet.
Yeah.
And then you get Enoch, I think that was his name, which just frightens me.
Hey, it took me I was like, whoa, okay, hello.
I was like, that's a thing now. I like it, and I am petrified of it at the same time.
Agree.
Yeah.
And then you just get the shot of, like, Thrawn, the couple of, like, higher ranking night troopers that walk straight over that little bridge area, and it was just the perfect introduction to such a sinister and menacing character.
Yeah, really nice organic. No, that's not right. Organic entrance with the music, really beautifully done. I gotta say it, and it's really meant for the drawing board, but I gotta mention it now. But I was really thrown, and I don't mean to body shame anybody, but I was really thrown by his little pudgy pudge by the side angle. Just that it's very tiny.
It's to show that time has passed.
I totally agree. And then, like, me actually throwing stones at my own mirror going, look at this fatty. And then I'm like, oh God, why did I eat the entire bag of Doritos, right? And I get it. He's probably on a diet of toddies or whatever the little creatures are. And it's fine. It's no big deal. Whatever the little Ninja Turtle creatures are.
Oh, the trolls from Frozen?
Hermit crabs?
Correct.
I thought they
Yes.
were going to start singing Fixer Upper.
Yeah.
What the hell's happening?
Where is Joanna Gaines? Anyway, that's a fixer-upper reference from the Magnolia Network, just in case you weren't paying attention. Other than that, I don't know. I guess in my brain from Rebels, I'm like, Thrawn, super slender, super tall. Why would he ever let him get that way? You know what I mean? It's just that's that military aspect of life for him, and I'm like, moments a little saturated.
I will agree with you, and I was like noticing the little like jowl area, like right the little like
the jiggle,
the pooch under his chin.
It's a lot of.
I thought he was just like skin and bones type of guy.
Yeah, he's more alien. Yeah, obviously in the animation and in books, right in your brain. He's got those. Unfortunately, Peredia has the American eating culture, and like there's no portion control on Peredia.
That or Filoni was like, we got to stop paying our actors before they're on screen.
right.
He's went on a caviar binge or something.
We can tell he had the extra snacks. Anyway, not body shaming, just saying that for me it took me out. No, I'm 15 pounds overweight. I'm allowed to say it, right? We're the same. We're the same people. Also, again, he's getting older. We're getting older. It all makes sense to me. I totally get it. But yeah,
I agree with what Mike said on that too, because like it does show that times past.
I
And,
love
like,
it.
Obviously, he wasn't living in the best of conditions. Like he's doing what he can to survive. So it's not his normal regimen, his normal routine, his normal diet, his normal everything. He's just trying to build and make the most of what he can while he's there. But I mean, just the fact that they got, like the fact that they're able to translate him from animated to live action, and you still get the voice and everything is just awesome.
Well, what's very interesting about the voice is that obviously we've had audiobooks, right? And I don't know the answer to this and who did the voice first, whether it was Mark Thompson, who does like all of the audiobooks, or what's the first name? I know
Mads?
Lars.
Mads.
Lars?
Lars?
I think it's Mads.
There's a couple of them. It's like a
I think it's Lars. Because Mads is Jin's father.
That's right.
All right.
Overruled. Judges?
IMDb.
It's Lars. It's Lars. Anyway, if it was Lars and Rebels who did the voice, or Mark Thompson, but if you heard them together, they're the same, which is really great. With the continuity of that is awesome. I did make a nice connection between his exile and my exile and our body types, and like I've been in exile for 6 years, and he's been in exile for 9 years, and by exile I mean having kids, and I think it's the same.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's defined. So, let's talk Night Troopers. What's going on with these dudes? Are they magic together? Are they a bunch of scarecrows? Are they a bunch of Marocs? What's going on?
I think they're Marocs. I think Maroc was there to introduce that idea.
Yeah.
And then we just see it on a grander scale.
Oh boy.
Thrawn's army.
And they have a similar type of, like when Enoch talks, they have a similar type of voice to Maroc.
Ooh, good point. Good point. Do you think it's excessive? Like, I was a very like, oh wow, that's a lot of stormtroopers. Like, that's a lot of stormtroopers.
Well, he also said our numbers have dwindled later in the episode.
It makes sense. Ezra probably took out a bunch.
Like
at least 50.
It's a big ass ship.
That's a lot of. It's a lot. It's like it should be
massive ship.
13,000 on that ship or something like that, or like an extraordinary amount of people. Although, I think at this point, Thrawn was probably working a skeleton crew of people he only trusted toward the end of Rebels because of he's an alien, right? And like they don't like him. That's just fact in the books and stuff like that. They don't like him because he's blue. They don't like him because of the way he talks to people, which, as you can tell, may be a little off-putting in meetings. Mm-hmm. Just maybe a little bit. He may be a little critical of your thought process. I loved his line of, "You've bet the whole galaxy on that belief."
Oh, that's an amazing.
What a
line.
great line. And he says it twice. He really repeats himself 2 times where he says how that singular focus will reshape our galaxy. And then kind of doubles down and says, are you here because you think finding Ezra is going to be the thing that saves everybody? That's funny.
Quick noticement. Just a question too. Were they ever referred to as night troopers? Because the only on closed captioning it says night troopers.
Yeah.
But in the show, were they ever referred to as night troopers?
I don't think so. I don't think there's a verbal mention of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of weird.
As
well, I guess you can't call them stormtroopers, right? I also know they're called Night Sisters. There's not a lot of, we don't really have to stretch too far to believe that the red bandages is holding them together like you wouldn't believe. And I like the gold aesthetic. That seems to be very Night Sistery.
The gladiator face.
Yeah, no, it's real interesting. And I wonder if Thrawn's supposed to have this Nogiri character called Rook, right? But I think Rook dies in Rebels, so he wouldn't be here. But not in the books. He's supposed to still be alive. So I wonder if Enoch is his now muscle man, his right hand man that goes after people, and whether or not Enoch is sort of alive or not.
Did Rook die on the ship?
Rook,
in that last...
Rook was battling Callus, if I remember correctly. I think Callus was keeping the shields down so the whales could attach themselves. Something like that. I forget.
Could Enoch be reincarnated Rook?
Possibly, or reincarnated... whatever his Jairus, he was originally Fulcrum or something like that. Not sure. But again, I start to wonder. We are now really deep into the character lore, and I'm not that I care about the normies because it's not a show for you, but I wonder what people watching this for the first time are thinking. What is going on with all the characters? I don't know. But anywho's, I love the Thrawn appearance. I love the Night Troopers. Super excited, chanting the name. Dame, there's got to be something that you have looked forward to in this show.
Well, I mean, look forward to for sure was Thrawn and Ezra. But one thing I did enjoy in this episode was the Howler. I really liked him a lot. Really cool creature. I think I liked him so much because he just reminded me of my dog. He's ready to attack somebody. I'm like, dude, just chill. And then he's when he's good, I'm like, good boy, and he's all excited about it and everything else. But he was I just really liked Sabine and the Howler and the back and forth with them and the bond and relationship and stuff. I'm sure that's probably not everyone's gonna say Thrawn and Ezra and Enoch and all this other stuff, but he was just that was just a little in between thing from Thrawn to Ezra, kind of bridging the gap between the appearance of those two, and I like that a little bit. I thought he was a pretty cool creature in the Star Wars universe.
I like the Howler, the rat dog, as LG would say in chat. At first I was like, wow, they're spending a lot of time. Filoni, and I don't know, Filoni's overall direction of this show is hey, let's play a game. How long can we spend on a scene and just let the camera sit for a while and not move on until the audience is uncomfortable? And that's how I felt during some of the Howler scenes, because I'm all right, we get it. He feels bad. But then on second watch, I'm actually, this is a great way to bring in some comedic relief.
Yeah.
With a very super serious show that has a lot of things going on with it. In fact, 3 reintroductions, which Thrawn you mentioned, Ezra we mentioned, but also the ship, which is a big deal to a lot of Star Wars fans. The Chimera comes out of nowhere. Where did it come from? Did you get tricked? Did you think Sabine was using the Force? I didn't, not one bit. But just that's a beautiful scene of, again, CGI. Unbelievable in this show.
sparing no expense.
Like
And
one,
the way they docked it too.
there is a
docking?
very questionable
We'll get to that
docking
later.
sequence.
We will get to docking later.
We're gonna have to talk about the technique that they used, but really interesting in the scale of it inserting itself on the on the spire. As my Tina is really hot for Ezra, which I agree. He is one. He is one
Jesus Bridger.
good-looking, blue-eyed
Ezra H. Christ.
gentleman. That's right, for sure. Ezra, on the other hand, I did a little research. He's played by Iman Esfati. I said that wrong, and that's okay. And he just has very little acting chops. Like, there's nothing he's really in that maybe we would have watched or anything like that.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate
like
it.
That. I like that move.
But here's what
Shin was in like nothing, and I love Shin.
I would let her rub my shins.
I would Shin her.
I gotta say, all right, I gotta say, if please,
wouldn't hate it.
Very nice. Take a moment and go to my Shin video and read the comments. There's a lot of simping going on in the comments. It's actually so funny to me, and I usually just respond with what Tina's emoji is, which is the hot sweating emoji. Like, I don't really care, but like people, I have to react to people. It's really funny. But here's what I like about the Ezra scene. The scene is set up where Sabine knows a big dark secret. Ezra thinks he's escaping, and the audience knows that there is no plan. And that is quite the drama to unfold in the next episode. To be continued, friends. Anyway, but he does really capture that childlike wonder of Ezra in the Rebels series. Just the voice is really good for me. Like, it matches in my head. Obviously, his age matches. I'm curious if he has lost his Force abilities or he has to hone them. Is he going to get his lightsaber back? Like, there's so many questions I have in regard to how they're going to handle the Ezra character. He's going to be so mad when they realize that this was a one-way trip. That's what's like driving me crazy. I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do. Sabine's already a loose cannon, and she's got no answer right now. How about we just hang out for a little bit? We'll talk about all this stuff later. It's really fine. Oh my God.
I traveled all this distance to see you.
Yeah. Like, let's start. I would like to put my feet up for a little bit. The Howler, like let him take a rest. That's yeah. So all the introductions for me were my top moments. That's for me. Mike, any other top moments?
Pretty much all the Balin and Shin
so good
conversation. And
so great.
You really got some perspective on like who Balin really is and what his motivations are too.
Absolutely.
Like, he's just tired of the cycle of, Jedi conquers and Empire falls, Empire rises, Jedi fall, and he just wants it to be like the same thing. And especially the how he talked about the Jedi. He's like, I like the idea of the Order, but not the weakness.
Yeah, it's
and you actually got to see the actress that played Shin actually do some acting.
Yeah.
And not just stare into the distance and shoot stuff.
Yep.
Like she handled, like, she was great in those scenes as well.
Yeah.
And like, my only fear going forward is that she's going to turn into that Reva character. I've said it a bunch. Like, they're planting those seeds, and especially now that Thrawn has decided them, very dispensable.
Right.
That like they're going to catch on to it, and like maybe not Balin so much, but Shin playing that Reva role, which I don't want to see.
I don't have that in my worry. I just because of how they're conducting themselves, it's almost like this could potentially be a series on itself later down the line that Filoni may explore. I have a feeling he is planting the seeds for Dawn of the Jedi all over this show, just to have that to be referenced later on, because I literally asked the question because Balin says, "What is the beginning? What does that even mean?" Right? He mentions the beginning. So what is that? Does he think he's going to be able to use like Night Witch powers and go back to the Dawn of the Jedi? Like, I'm not sure. Like, does he think he can influence a new Jedi Order? A new world order, as they would say. That's kind of a concept that's pretty, basic for like MCU stuff.
Yeah.
Shin is very afraid of witches, though. More witches? There's more witches. Of course there's witches. It's almost October, Shin. Wake up.
Well, even to the point that Balin senses something that he's never felt before on Peridia, which a force, something that's more powerful than Jedi.
Why would the Night Sisters be running from this?
Exactly.
Right? There's problems coming. There's a bigger threat happening, and then I just don't want it to be like it was Palpatine all along, and then it leads us down to the sequel trilogy. It would just ruin this show. Knowing that would ruin the show for me. Just like I want it to be its own thing. I want it to be self-contained, but also, how are they going to get home? Like, how much fuel did the hyperspace ring actually use? That's what I want to know.
Do we get a look? You mentioned this, I believe, last week. Do we get a look at that? Whatever Palpatine was sensing that wasn't like anything he's ever sensed before.
Another thing, possibly. I mean, just again dropping the seeds of doubt, and and all these interesting. I wrote a tweet that was like, I rewatched this episode and I have 7 questions that are open ended. That's it. Like, I just have questions, and I love that I have questions. It's one of my favorite parts of this episode is the fact that it's literally reminding me of like a Lost episode right now, where it's like we were able to answer where's Ezra, where's Thrawn. It, however, created 7 more questions. So we answered 2, but now we've got 7 more. For example, who is the actual Jedi the Night Sisters sense? I think it's Balin. I don't think it's Sabine at all.
I thought that as well.
You know what I mean? Like,
because Sabine isn't really force sensitive right now.
Right, yeah. And it's like Filoni is like throwing these curveball slurves at us, and I'm like trying to be ready for them, like, all right, here's what they want to do, and now they're on the writer's room, and they're like, how are we going to hide this? But also we have to re-hide it and hide it again. I like how they casually mentioned 3 rotations too. That's one of my favorite things. This is going to take us approximately 3 rotations. Like, all right, we're going to be on Peridia for at least 3 days. So, what happens then? Like, how many days it needs to pass and whatever.
How do they automatically know what a rotation is on different planets? That's amazing to me.
I would imagine that rotations mean. See, I think they keep it vague on purpose. I think rotations, they're trying to give us like, oh, that's just a day, which is fine.
Oh, I agree with that.
But also, is it a day? I mean, I've seen Interstellar. Different planets have different gravities, have different time frames. But
different rotations.
Apparently, in the Starfield game, there's a planet that has 0.01 gravity, so you can like make things explode, which is lots of fun. The physics of that game seem very interesting. The Balin Shin stuff was super interesting. Really, really interesting. Let me see. I like she says that sometimes stories are just stories. She's speaking to everybody. Star Wars is just a story. That's it. Maybe there's a deeper message there.
Narrated by Hu Yang.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for sure. Any other top moments before we move on to our drawing board?
I think I'm good.
Cool beans. Mike, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Here we go.
We do not care.
I can, you know what? Hold on one second. This is not fair for you guys.
Overall impressions.
Yeah, no, it's just not fair for you guys to have to deal with the fact that you can't hear that. I don't even know how to work this damn program right now.
It's fine. I saw it end. I could start talking now.
No, you can't. Hold on. I need to fix. Oh, you know what? It closed out. That's okay. You know why I like it? Because it's aggressive. And the we do not care. I really need to hear it like out loud because that really gets me
do not care.
pumped up for mostly everything. But here it is. Okay. We are going to pump that up right now. And we're going to play that over again. I don't really care. Just what we're going to do. I think we're going to play it. Intro? Oh my gosh. Oh, I see what we have to do.
We do not care.
Anyways, to you, Mike. Didn't work at all. What a failure.
Troubleshooting live.
Just hate it. Hate myself.
So not everything can be perfect, right? Eventually, freshly fallen snow will have footprints. You can still appreciate the beauty of the snow, but realize that it is imperfect now. Much like this episode. When that happens, we need to go back to the drawing board. Now, for this first notes, who do I want to pick on first? Sean.
Yes.
Thrawn's volume. I understand that he speaks in that soft-spoken type of manner, adding to his pomp, adding to how arrogant he is. I don't know if this was acting choice or editing in the soundboard. But I actually want to hear the things he says and not have to put captions on them the first watch. So you gambled the fate of your galaxy on this belief. For me, Thrawn's volume was too low.
Interesting.
What say you?
I don't care. I listen to with very loud headphones, but I can agree with you that I probably missed a lot of what he was saying. I get Thrawn, so I'm just like, he said something smart and witty.
Yeah.
So I didn't really pick in. I don't first watch through. I don't really pick up on all the vocal. I didn't know Enoch said "die well." How's that sound?
Such a great line.
Didn't even hear it. Wasn't paying attention. It happens. So that's interesting. I don't. There's always that weird sound level, like with commercials being louder than TV shows and stuff. But for me, it's not it's a non-issue.
I like I said, I understand what they were doing. They need to give him that voice, but it was, for me, I watched with the captions on for my rewatches to see all the things that I may have missed. If I have to put the captions on for the first watch, you need to speak the F up.
I gotcha. I totally get it. I'm with you. Do you think, Mike, I will throw it back to you.
Sometimes I think.
Do you think there were too many introductions in this episode?
I'm fine with introducing both Ezra and Thrawn.
And the ship. Come on, man.
And the ship.
For Christ's sake.
If you get the introduction of Thrawn, you're going to get the introduction.
I'm here
of the
too.
Ship. He's here too. Introducing everybody. Yeah. Ezra's, I think, was mishandled.
I agree with Ezra's being mishandled. I think it would have been better if he showed up against the bandits.
He was too smiley for being exiled with trolls.
I don't know. He might be happy. He might be happy. Trailer Park Trolls.
Hey, guys.
Well, they were very well
dressed.
dressed.
Walk on water.
Did you see how they were dressed? They were dressed like they just rode It's a Small World in Disney World and stole all the costumes.
They were pulled from the Muppets version of A Christmas Carol or something.
Why did they dress him like Jesus too?
I don't know.
He's the savior.
He might be the savior to them. Maybe all they've known is death, and ever since he's been around, they don't die as often as they used to. You know, maybe he taught them the turtling. Who knows? But I don't know. It's just, for me, it was a little off-putting to go like back to back to back on intros. It's like, you know, I was again. This may be an after effect of I thought we were going to get stuff like this last episode, and now I'm like, oh man, they really like had a chance to. Like, it would have been cool to have the Chimera scene at the end of part 5. You know what I mean? And break that up, knowing like, oh, there he is, and then it cuts to credits, and you're like, God damn it, it's gonna be wild. Maybe just the trimming of that, and then you have your slow rollout of Thrawn. I mean, the intro for Thrawn was great. The intro for Ezra, I totally agree. Probably a little too silly.
Do you think they're like trying to, like, there's only 2 episodes left, so we may only have like an hour and a half of Ahsoka left.
100%.
Trying to jam.
They're jamming it
too much.
Yeah.
Into too little time.
I agree. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's kind of what I'm saying. That 32-minute episode, part 3, don't remember. It's coming back to bite them right now. They could have used an extra 12 minutes. It's the same. Anyway. But other than that, I have no concerns with the episode outside of too many introductions, not enough time.
Number 2. Dane, this question is for you.
Yes.
That rhymed.
3 things in life are certain: death, taxes,
Black Series figures.
and
Hot toys.
Lego.
Disneyfication of Star Wars.
Disneyfication. Got it. Okay, I'm with you. I thought you said Disney Vacation for a second.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Disneyfication.
Gotcha. Disneyfying.
Disneyfying it. I don't like those little naughty.
I knew you weren't gonna like them.
Why do you need a cute thing in this series?
Because Dave Filoni's producing it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the Loth Cats. It's the Bendu. You know, it's the wolves,
Porgs.
the porgs. You know, there's always a little cutie patootie. What are they? Toddies?
Just saying.
Hot toddies?
Naughty. N-O-T-I.
Is that the language, or is that
That
the species?
The language. I don't think we know
That's
what
the
these...
language. Is that what they're
Because
called too?
they the bandits mentioned that they speak
They're
naughty.
Speaking naughty, yeah.
Yeah. I thought they were called TOTIs. I thought they were toady. I don't know. Can someone in chat check us?
I don't know. I didn't have a problem with them because that's like what led us to Ezra, and I guess like that kind of gave him some purpose too, instead of just like, you know, marking down dates on a rock until somebody comes and you know, saves him. So I guess that gives him a little bit of purpose.
Yeah, I
during
like
his
that.
Exile.
I would much rather have him been the Obi-Wan route, where he's just like living in a cave and like harvesting whale salmon meat at a dock.
It would have been cool if he was just like a keeper of howlers too, or something like that. Like something
Yeah.
a little bit more like edgy versus
He's too happy.
yeah.
Yeah, this
Happy
is
for
yeah.
being
Very
exiled.
happy for being exiled and stuff. I mean, I think that switch is gonna flip pretty quick next episode when he realizes like, yeah, well, I didn't get a ticket home, so we're gonna
Well, he also made the choice to do that, knowing
Right,
that there's a
that's true.
chance that he's never coming home. So he may have just said like, "Well, this is the best life I can live, so let me do this," and go that.
making the most of his situation.
Just making the most of his situation, and yeah.
Quick prediction for episode 7. Those little troll things will sing "Fixer Upper" to Sabine and Ezra.
Yes. Yes, they were very smitten with their hug, weren't they?
Yeah.
They're very excited about it. Maybe they will erase their memories, but keep the fun.
Also, another question: how do they get dressed? If the shells are like permanently fixed to their
Are
back?
the shells permanently fixed?
It's true.
This is the question I have. I think they are not. I think they are. They're leasing these shells, and they're
I want to see them use them like Mario style then in the next episode. Like take them off and flick them at somebody.
Throw them and they spin.
Yeah, just take out somebody with
I'm
them.
curious if
Jump on
Ezra,
it for a long time, infinite extra lives.
Well, that's what I was. Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, do you think Ezra survived because he has jumped on them at least 9 times? which is great. Yeah, no, I totally get. It was one of those things where I was like, there's a cute creature, and that's fine. Ewoks come to mind. Jar Jar Binks come to mind. There's always a sense of weird creatures. I mean, the two aliens in Andor, in the most serious Star Wars show ever, was wonderful. They weren't cute, but they were definitely unique.
Comic relief.
They were unique in their ability to. I forget what their names are, but I just remember laughing at them immensely, watching how desperate they were, him and Melchi, to get away, and they just get immediately captured by these two aliens. So silly. Do you have a number 3?
That's all I have. Those are my 2 bugaboos.
I love it. Did I write down and ask the chatters? I sure did. So let's do that. Thank you for your drawing board, Mike. We appreciate you. And now we ask the chatters. Get ready. Check the chat. All right. The question is, does anyone make it off Peridia? Who? If they do. Boom. I misspelled does. Let's not talk about it.
Those.
O's.
O's.
O's. Does anyone make it off Peridia? It's because my new beautiful retro style keyboard has Bluetooth low power saving, and it actually turns off the save battery, which is quite fantastic.
It's pretty awesome.
So let us know your thoughts. Does anyone actually make it off Peridia, or are we perpetually stuck there, knowing that none of these characters are part of the future of the Star Wars franchise, technically? What did you notice? Let's check it out. Noticements. We're back. Here we go. I have really enjoyed the CGI of that hyperspace ring coming out of hyperspace. I went, whoa! That is a fantastical use of stardust, space dust, echoing of the void. Not sure, but I really enjoyed that. How about the revelation that the whales come there to die?
Ooh,
Sad.
So this is like a one-way trip for Ahsoka? So then where are the whales born? I don't, like, where do they get born? Do they breed in the other galaxy and then they just let the spermy whales do what they need to do and come back to die? Very confused by all of it, but I'll accept it because it's weird Star Wars and I'm here for it. How about the Night Sisters riding the whales for funsies?
The Sanderson sisters?
The Sanderson sisters with the Hoover vacuum. But here's my thing. If the whales go there to die, but the Night Sisters rode the whales to get off of Peridia, are they being killed when they get there so no one can get to the other galaxy? I don't know. We have to sort of semi-trust the three witches of echoing. I have no idea. It's very, very, very curious. I could really relate to the 3 rotations of packing the stuff because it takes me at least 3 rotations to pack my family up to go down the shore. And we only have a family of 5.
I love packing.
I know you do. I know you do.
One of my greatest joys in life is packing for a vacation.
Yes. Yes.
The car specifically, not like me like putting my stuff in it.
Oh, I thought you were like packing like guns and stuff. It's fine.
That too.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
For sure. Dame, what did you notice? Did you notice anything that I didn't notice? I went through about a quarter of the list.
So I couldn't tell. I know that they do this with some scenes with Hu Yang, but for like the Howler and the little the Noddies, the hermit crab guys.
Yeah, look it up.
Did they use puppets there? Because I know with Hu Yang, like you could tell there's some scenes where he's actually like an animatronic, and then there's other scenes where he's clearly like CGI'd in there. And I couldn't tell because some of the scenes, like they do a pretty good job with like splicing in CGI with puppetry. I couldn't 100% tell. And then with the Night Sisters too, they had very like Greek-ish names. It kind of reminded me of like Greek mythology stuff. I didn't write down their names, but Just everything about them was pretty interesting, and the fact that they don't like the smell of Jedi, I thought was kind of funny too. But I also thought that maybe that was like a little bit of foreshadowing for maybe Balin kind of coming back to the light side.
Yes. Confirmed, Noti. Thank you, Mike. Right
Noti,
as
okay.
usual.
Don't mess with me.
I know. I'm looking up the Great Mothers as we speak to see what their names
Let's see if I
are.
can find their names because it was very Greek mythology or like sounding, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They were interesting too. I mean, they're even though they didn't do much in the episode.
Little lasso of truth thing that they have.
Really interesting. Very
Yeah.
Wonder,
The
very,
red rope thing.
very Wonder
Yeah.
Woman-like, isn't it?
They were powerful. Let me see if I can find them.
They sounded like from the original Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Choose your destroyer.
Clothow. Like
That's that's the ball they use in Harry Potter.
wait, the golden snitch?
No, the quaffle.
One of them was named Winifred.
Well, no, it's not.
One was named Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right.
One was named the Pine Sol Lady.
And Agatha.
Right. We have so many witch splicing going on here right now.
What about Serena?
Beetlegeist. Actropaw, Clothow, and Lasis.
Those all sound like cleaning products.
They do. Yeah. You know when they say like if you look at the back of what you eat and if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Like
yeah,
those are three things I would see on the back of something that I probably shouldn't be eating, but
that would be
eat anyway.
Lacathol sounds like definitely a drug commercial, like for like psoriasis or something.
Yeah, no. The
Jedi take Actropaw.
I wonder how they came up with the names. You said they're Greek in nature. Is that what you said?
Well, it just sounded Greek to me.
Yeah.
Like
Can
like
you use it in a
like
sentence?
mythology.
It's all Greek to me.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all Greek. I just need Mykonos to show up now with his Euro recipe.
I really feel like breaking out in Mamma Mia songs right now, and I don't think I'm on the right track there. Mikey, outside of Greek witches, is there anything you noticed in the episode that you want to bring to our attention?
Here's a huge noticement.
The Chimera.
Yes.
Right.
During the first conversation between Balin and Shin.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed this. I've seen nothing about this.
Okay.
Shin blinked 4 times.
You know what? I didn't notice that, but she definitely had more humanization characteristics in this episode. Do you think she stares at Sabine too much?
Maybe she likes her.
I'm just saying. Do you think she despises her?
Her freedom?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
There's a lot of talk of like Shin being the new Mara Jade. Do you know what that name means to anybody? Does anybody know what that name is? Mara Jade was a character created in the EU that was who was working under like this again. They're weaving in characters during the original trilogy, right? So she was like the Emperor Palpatine's right hand, like the hand of the king, you know, kind of like in Game of Thrones or whatever. And she would do these secret missions for him that no one knew about, of course. And obviously, when Luke, quote unquote, Luke threw the Emperor Palpatine down the shaft, she like made it her mission to kill him, and like that was like heir to the Empire. That was her mission, but she couldn't. They had to work together because they were again very plot devicey. They were on a planet that naturally suppressed the Force, and I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, right. You can't use Force power, so you're normies on this planet. Yeah, it makes sense to me anyway. So they had to use each other to survive. And then, like, later down the road, they get married and have kids. So, like, none of the EU should be counted for any of this. But anyways, Shin is sort of acting away towards Jedi. That's kind of my point. And is she like this Mara Jade mirror copy? Will she have a future in this Star Wars universe, or is she a sacrificial lamb? That's kind of what I just don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
I think she's got legs.
I think she's got legs too. I mean, unfortunately with Ray Stevenson, it's kind of like, I don't think they should recast him. I think they should give him the death that he deserves, but not in like a real life, but like he's probably going to sacrifice himself for the beginning, you know, like keep going, Shin, you know, or something like that. Like keep searching for that, whatever. I don't know.
And they already teased that. Like, I trained you to be more than that.
Yes, exactly. So there's a lot of great setup in this. During the Shin Balin stuff, he mentions Ezra Bridger, and he's like, I didn't know him. He was a breed of Boken Jedi that were like trained in the wild. And I'm like, what? I've never heard he labels things a lot, this Balin, right? He calls like hyperspace the void. He uses very like these ethereal terms. But
a real boomer.
Yeah, right. Probably has no idea what a PDF is either, loser. I like literally next line, Balin trained Shin to be something more. We talked about, you know, who is the Jedi? What is the beginning? What is he referring to? I'm curious about what are they if they're all dead, the Night Troopers, let's just say they're dead. What are they transporting? What?
Spice.
What is it? Do you think it's more red tape?
Could be extra bodies. Maybe there's a process to it.
Maybe. I mean, this is certainly this type of dark magic, spelled Magick, would reasonably resurrect a dead Palpatine. I wouldn't hate it because somehow Palpatine didn't return. There was science and magic behind it, and I would be okay with it, even though they mentioned, I think, what was his name? I forget what his name, but he's like, oh, cloning, dark magic, dark stuff. Like it's his one line in Rise of Skywalker. I forget what his name is. He was a hobbit. He was one of the hobbits in the show.
Dominic.
That's Monaghan. Yes, not Monaghan. Is it Monaghan?
I think it's yeah.
Yeah. So they sort of answer the question, but again, we were like, unlikely, but maybe likely. You know, more likely than not now with the Night Sister magic, if they exist. You know, there was a point where, you know, Palpatine and the Night Sisters were going head on because they have a certain magic that he was trying to attain. I really forget the story in Clone Wars, but like Darth Maul is born of Dathomir, which means he has Night Sister witch sort of magic creation stuff. And then he quickly disposed of him, and I wonder why. Maybe to cut off the Night Sister's alpha male? I don't know. Not sure. A lot of theories there, but very interesting. Very interesting. We talked about Balin mentioning something's calling to him, right? How do we think Ezra's going to feel when there is no plan?
I feel like he might have something up his sleeve, or like he's had a long time to think about how to get out of there. But maybe he just hasn't had the resources or the help to, you know, enact that plan.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I mean, I would think he has some sort of semblance of an idea of what he could do to get out of there. But you know, because obviously having Sabine, like he could do more with her than he could with his current company. So he might have something up his sleeve. But I do think he's gonna be a little peeved when he finds out, like, yeah, I'm here, but I'm gonna be here for a long time with you, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. That's fair.
Not a fully realized plan.
Yeah,
or thought out plan.
I saw on Twitter. I think this is stupid. Let me preface this with, I think this is an Easter egg for an Easter egg's sake. Balin has his, what do they call those? On the forearm. The armor on the forearm.
Gauntlet?
Okay, gauntlet. And on the underside of the gauntlet, where he's calling plays for the knights of the football table, there's Arabesh writing that just has all the original trilogy character names on it. And I find that annoying because it's an intentional joke. It's an intentional Easter egg to just have it because, if that's true, you know, again, according to the pictures, I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the lettering, and I'm looking at Han, and there's 3 letters. I'm looking at Luke, and there's 4 letters. Maybe it's not. But I do believe that people on the internet will translate the Arabesh, and that's fine. I think that's a poor use of Easter egg. I think that could have been something else, like a mantra. Like, you're taking the idea of the chain code from Boba Fett, which was great, right? That idea.
Yeah.
And, like, making fun of it. Unless he's, like, trying to go after the Skywalker and original trilogy people, then okay. I'm good with it. But I don't know. It's just, I found that to be a little off-putting. To have
like
just, like...
Billy Madison list of people.
Yeah, kind of like that. You know, just, like... And it had, like, C-3PO and R2-D2 and Chewie. And, like, I'm just like, that's kind of...
lame.
Filoni baloney, as they would say.
Yeah.
Filoni baloney. I got one more question, but I'll throw it to anybody who has any other noticements.
Just something I noticed, and I don't know if this is intentional, but Enoch's mask reminded me of the Sons of the Harpy from Game of Thrones. Like, they wore gold masks and would, like, basically assassinate and attack people. And they were super creepy. Got the same exact vibe from him, and even just like the outro music with Ahsoka is very Game of Thrones-esque too. So I don't know if there was any kind of influence, or maybe they're just fans of the show, like Filoni or whatever, but I really like that choice of mask because it's just emotionless and just kind of chilling. But
that's a good point by you. That's very scary.
Harpy, it looks just like it.
I just looked it up and I'm blown away. People were also saying that it looks like the idol from Indiana Jones.
A little bit,
yeah.
And again, I think about again, it's all Lucasfilm, so they're sort of like just they're poking fun at this stuff, which is fine. Mike,
I just said that the original, not the original, but the first scenes of like the new hyperspace visuals,
very cool.
Very cool, like different colors and everything.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
I appreciated that a lot. Just to kind of break up. I didn't like the way the Purgles looked. It was a little too rubbery. I don't know. I thought maybe on first watch, maybe it was still in 480. It hasn't caught up to the stream just yet. I watched it the second time, and I'm like, Purgles don't look great. They don't look great in bright light. That's what I can say for sure. They look better in cloudy skies, whatever. But yeah, no, I really like the hyperspace stuff just to kind of break up that kind of thing. It looked a little unstable, right? Like they're going a little too fast. They may be going ludicrous speed, as they would say.
Oh, I love that movie.
So at the end of this episode, Thrawn, upon finding out that Ahsoka is on his way, which is interesting. Does he know about us? There's an interesting history of Thrawn and Anakin Skywalker in the books. And it's a very cool book called Thrawn Alliances. So there's 9 Thrawn books, 3 in the EU, and then 6 in modern day canon. And it's like Thrawn, how he comes upon to the Empire. And then we also have a trilogy of Thrawn. I don't think I finished it yet, but they have Thrawn as he's still with the Chiss. That's his people. Anyway. Thrawn Alliances is a pretty good story of Thrawn's relationship with both Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader as the story switches between past and future. And they're working together at various times. And Thrawn's not a dummy. He's you fight just like someone I know. But he's not saying it out loud. Point being, do you think at any point Ahsoka would have been mentioned? Because he seems to not know who this is. Unless this is, I know his thing is to do lots of research and find out about his enemy before he goes and attacks and whatever. But anything? Even says I know that name, but I'm going to need all of her history. I'm going to need to know I already know who the master, you know what I mean? Like, there could have been, like, just, like, a little bit of, like, it felt like he didn't know Ahsoka at all. To me, and to others that I've conferred with on the interwebs. But I think point still stands. I think he's going to assume that she's thinking like a Jedi, but we know that's not really the case. So I think she is an enemy that is coming towards him, and he's not really exactly ready for that. Can you not with the bone?
Sorry.
We're in the middle of something. Anyway, dogs are the best. I mean, you have the whole house to yourself, and you want to sit right behind me and chew on that bone. Unbelievable. Well, hey, listen, we're a little bit past an hour. I think we need to do some predictions for part 7, which is, by the way, tomorrow. Not too far away. I'm not going to do the math, but I feel like it's 22 hours. How'd I do?
About,
just about.
Yeah.
Just about. Sweet. Sweet deal.
21 and a half.
I appreciate that. Let's do our quick predictions. We'll get on with the show. You didn't see that, but I went to tell my dog to stop chewing on the bone while that was happening. But you wouldn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Okay, here are my predictions. I wrote down a little thing. So I say Avi, Ahsoka, and the whales show up. And they are immediately shot out of the sky. And the T6 goes down, destroyed.
You enjoy a good
Hold on.
destroying of ships.
Hold on. Ahsoka survives. Hu Yang does not. I know that would be very, very devastating, and it's coming.
Don't you do
I'm gonna have to say it. We've been so in love with the character, and he knows too much about the history. And
this
we're
isn't Game of Thrones.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're getting to a point where we want to know what Hu Yang knows, and Filoni Baloney's going to say, no one's going to know, because even I don't know. Hu Yang's destroyed in the next episode. Balin and Shin catch up. You're so mad. You both of you are so mad at me right now. Balin and Shin catch up with Ezra, not to fight, but to team up against Thrawn after finding out that he is plotting against them. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. 2 rotations would have passed since last episode. I don't think we get any scenes from the regular galaxy. Not one. Not 1 second wasted. Maybe in the beginning, before the Ahsoka cut screen. Maybe they're, Hera trying to contact them. I don't know. Luke shows up. Just kidding. And clearly the Howler is dead next episode for sure. After being reprimanded for running, it will sacrifice itself for the greater good of Sabine. I don't know what else is going to happen in that episode because the future is cloudy. I don't think we're going to get a Thrawn Ahsoka meetup. I also don't understand how that would work. He's not a fighter. He is a little bit of a fighter, but he's not a fighter. He's a tactician, and he's good at strategy, but, I don't know if he can handle something more than Jedi. 3, really. 4? Four lightsaber-wielding people coming to this planet against the Thrawnster. I don't know. Doesn't look good for him. You think about it like that. Mike, I throw it to you.
I want to talk about your Hu Yang dying thing first.
Yes.
Because I think that he can... he's not going to die. Hu Yang's not dying. But I can see him going the Baymax from Big Hero 6 route. And, are you satisfied with your care? And sacrifices himself to stay on the planet, stay on Peridia, while everybody else makes an escape somehow.
Acceptable.
I think the next episode is going to be essentially a tale of 2 episodes, where I think you're going to get Ezra flashbacks of, what happened after they got to Peridia. What he's been doing for, the last, 9 years? Was it?
Yeah, I think it's 9 or 10 years. I don't think the timeline's been fuzzy, but now we can safely say that it is after Mando season 3. I think at this point we can kind of say that.
Yeah. obviously you're going to get some Ahsoka Sanderson sisters conflict.
That's a neat
and
trick.
I think you're going to get. I like your idea of the team up with Balin, Shin, Ezra, and Sabine, but it is a reluctant meet. Like
100%. Oh no, they still don't like each other for sure.
It's not going to be against Thrawn though. It's going to be against whatever it is that power is that Balin senses.
Interesting.
And it will be the Night Walkers. The White Walkers, not the Night Walkers.
They may be Night Walkers. Was that not the worst part of Game of Thrones toward the end?
Oh, that was bad.
We need you to go back to the wall and run. Sure, it took us 15 episodes to get here.
Right.
But in 30 seconds, you've reached the wall. Lordy. Thank God we didn't cover that show, because there would be... We would need...
Season 8, we would have...
Drawing boards. We would need calligraphy tablets. Anyway. I like all what you're saying, Mike. I think the safer Star Wars route is to keep Hu Yang alive, but also stranded. Makes sense to me, for sure. But I also remember the Razor Crest getting exploded. Just saying.
Very unceremonious.
We weren't prepared for that. I'll tell you that right now.
It was just like, la, 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 explode.
Yeah.
It was like if you blinked, you actually missed it. You were just like, wait, what?
That sound, pew, unbelievable. Just like a surface attack from a light cruiser from orbit. Wild. Dame, what you got? I know Dengar.
So, I was going to say, I think there's definitely a connection between these troopers and Dengar.
Right.
They both wear bandages.
Right.
So I think that naturally you just draw that line from Dengar to those guys. So I think Enoch is probably just more slim and trim, very much so undead Dengar, but not really. I think we're going to get a Hu Yang action scene because, if you watch the cartoon, he has like the extra arms in his back, and like obviously when he's dueling and practicing with Sabine, he does that too. So I think it would be pretty cool if he is going to go out, which I could unfortunately see happening with a caveat. It would be cool to see him, just wielding a bunch of lightsabers and just going to town on a bunch of the troopers that Thrawn has. And I could see them do something similar to like L3, where maybe they upload his memory into the T6, and then that knowledge gets passed on. He's just not around anymore. Maybe they can do something there. I mean, I honestly just want to see him live, because he's such a fun character, super knowledgeable. I mean, he's kind of like the encyclopedia, like he's like the Cliff Notes for people who might just need a quick refresher on what this is, what that is. So I really hope we do see him. I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka until the very end of the episode. I think it's going to be a lot of catching up with Ezra, really introducing him to the fans and what he's been doing, how his life has been, and everything like that. I do think we get a turn from Balin that's eventually going to, cost him his life, but then Shin carries on, his memory and goes on to do her things. That's pretty much all I can think of right now. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a, not really like just like this episode, not a lot of action, just a little bit of action in there. I think we will get a little bit of action, but I think it's going to be a lot of dialogue, a lot of catching up, and really just, giving fans, like, we wanted Ezra, for all this time. And similar to like the Anakin episode, like there was a lot of conversation in that, a lot of dialogue in that, while there was action
super
intertwined. I definitely think we're going to get more of that, and then maybe Ahsoka towards the end, and then boom, we have all of our characters in Peridia for the final episode.
I love it. That's wonderful. I hope it all comes true. And as the child arises on the phone and is screaming his head off, let's move on to our 1-sentence summary, and let's hustle up because we're in the 2-minute drill. I'm waiting on the phone call for me to go get him, and so we're just going to keep going. All right, here's my 1-sentence summary. Just very simply, here it is. Part 6 sews many threads into a tight 40-minute episode, but which thread is the thread of destiny? Mike?
No one is safe as it seems. Everyone is thrown to the wolves.
Ooh, damn. I think that's the best one this year. Good for you.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Amy?
If anyone's critical of episode 6 of Ahsoka, I only have one thing to say. Don't knock it until you try it.
All right, so I feel like an idiot. So great job, everybody, with your punnies and stuff like that. Well, a very good use of all the good stuff. And as we wrap up this episode, let's just talk about the chatters. Who says, does anyone make it off Peridia? And Nicole says, I believe so. At least Thrawn could be part of a cliffhanger. Tina also says, I think some will and some don't. Cliffhanger in the last episode. Tina not enjoying the Hu Yang death scene that I've duly predicted. Jesus Christ, Techy, which is really funny chatter in there. But as we wrap up episode 122, Part 6, Far, Far Away, we want to thank you for joining us on the Extra Star Wars podcast. Sorry for the late start. We'll try to be better next week. We won't. But we hope you enjoy Part 7 of Ahsoka. We're coming down to the final 2 episodes, and we want to thank Damien, and we want to thank Mike.
Balin is a daddy.
And we want to thank Balin, who is a daddy. And we will catch you next week. And on the other side, and as always, may the force be with you. And make sure you follow the Red 5 Network at bio.link/Red5. We'll see you next time.